Hello everybody, my name is Ilya.
And my name is Tyler. Together we make up Kovray, a couple that loves to play board games.
And today we'll be telling you about Diables.
Diables is a 1-to-4 player game designed by Danny Garcia and published by Salt and Pepper Games to help sponsor this video.
With that said, let's go to the table and let's give you an overview of how this game works. In Diables, you'll take charge of your own colla, a troupe of performers participating in one of Catalonia's most spectacular traditions, the Correfoc, a fiery parade filled with drummers, fireworks, and larger-than-life beasts. Across the 3 rounds, you'll build your troupe, manage your fireworks, impress the crowds, and earn fame points by putting on an unforgettable performance. Diables is centered around your own player board, which represents the streets your performers will parade through. Each round is made up of 4 phases, but the heart of the game is the performance phase, where players take turns until everyone decides to pass. On your turn, you'll either send one of your performers into the streets, activate your drummers, or pass for the remainder of the phase. When sending a performer into the street, you'll choose from several different members of your troupe. Standard Diables are your most common performers, while characters and increasingly powerful beasts require more fireworks but can unlock additional opportunities. Each performer is placed into one of the columns of your parade route, though initially you'll only be able to reach the first few columns until you improve your troupe throughout the game. Every performer also needs fireworks. Depending on who you're sending out, you'll spend a different amount from your personal cart, choosing between regular, whistling, or colorful fireworks. Not only do these determine whether you can put on the performance, but certain spectators also care about the type of fireworks you use, opening up additional actions when the right conditions are met. Where you place your performer determines which spectators they inspire. Every spectator provides actions you'll resolve immediately, whether that's preparing new performers, gathering more fireworks, growing your following, capturing photos and videos for social media, or progressing toward one of the game's major performances. Throughout the game, you'll also reveal actions hidden beneath these spectator cards, expanding the options available to your troupe and strengthening the scoring of the performances in the festival. Instead of sending another performer, you can also activate your tablaires, the drummers accompanying your parade. By placing one of your leader tokens, you'll either trigger more spectator actions or generate sound. Building up sound moves you along its own track, helping determine a turn order for the next round, while also thrilling the crowd along the way for additional rewards. As the parade unfolds, you'll also be working towards several public performances taking place throughout the festival. Whether it's the carretillada, the bal perlat, the trobada de besties, the tablada, or the spectacular lumens that occur during the parade itself, each offers another opportunity to earn fame points and demonstrate the strength of your troupe. Meanwhile, spectators will continue posting your performances to social media, creating yet another avenue for scoring throughout the game. At the end of each round, time advances. Performances are scored based on your own choice. Your performers return home, new spectators line the streets, and the parade continues into the next round with fresh opportunities waiting for you. After the third and final round, players will tally up the remaining fame points, and the troupe that earned the greatest reputation throughout the festival is declared the winner.
And that's Diables.
Now let's dive into the key features of this game. First, I think it's a little bit obvious, but I want to state, this is a pretty heavy and complex game that takes a significant chunk of time, especially if it is your first time playing. There's a lot of interconnected systems that you're learning for the very first time and beginning to see all those connections come into place. So don't start this game at 10 p.m. at night.
Yeah, I would also recommend that you give it a few tries before you make any final decisions on how you feel about the game, because you do start to, like Ilya said, piece together a lot of the strategy tips, a lot of the interconnections that are going on, and just generally how the game flows. It gets better and better as you play more and more games.
Exactly. With that said, let's dive into some of the bigger key features of this game. The one we just talked about is the various ways this game interconnects with the various elements of the game. When you make a decision on your turn, not only are you looking at, hey, which performer am I going to use, but you're thinking about which firework, which column, which spectator you're going to interact with, which show you're potentially going to put on. And each of those decisions have a cascading effect of what might happen. And with those cascading effects, there's bonuses that you'll achieve as well.
Yes.
So like a lot of Danny Garcia's games, you'll do one thing. You won't have too many turns, but on your turn, you'll do some very exciting things because all of a sudden you're placing here, which triggers this, then it triggers this, and then you have all these great things in front of you and even more decisions to make, which tickles your brain just the right way.
Yeah, the big thing with this too is that the timing on the choices that you make of the actions you are taking are going to be something that you're going to be more and more thoughtful of. Do you do this part first? Do this action first? Or how are they going to impact each other by doing it in this order? Things along those lines.
It's never a dull moment. Another key feature of this game is the engine building within your board. As you prepare various performers to come off the stage and go out in the wild and put on the fireworks shows, you'll be able to do much more. You'll be able to get more fireworks at the end of the game, but there's a lot more flexibility. Do you get a dragon early on to place them on one of the shows to gain a bonus that can potentially propel you to score a lot of points at the end of the round? Maybe. That's your decision to make.
Exactly. Or instead, do you focus on things like thrilling crowds, where you can be able to clear up a lot of the cards to have better actions moving forward? The other thing to pay attention to is the engine building does definitely ramp up. So you'll see the first round be quite quick, whereas the next rounds progressively get longer and longer as you have unlocked more and more stuff. Again, I'll mention that the timing here is very important, and you're going to be quite considerate of how you move things and how much they cost. Because the varying workers cost different firework totals to place and to use, you're going to make sure that you're using them correctly, timing them correctly, and having enough resources to generate for the next and the following turns and rounds.
And sometimes you may be in an abundance of resources, but you can only place one worker per column. So knowing which spectators to interact with, which actions you want to take is another layer of this game. And once you're there, do you pay a little bit extra? Do you do that extra little bit to get the bonus action at the spectator? It is often very beneficial, and I would recommend to do so.
And there's something to be said about having setup turns as well. We can talk about the photos a little bit that go on. There's immediate effects that you'll get, but there's also ongoing effects you'll get. You will most likely want to get some of those ongoing abilities right away if possible, because they will disappear as soon as all of those photos do fill up. That being said, setting it up so that you're able to utilize it even just once can be a super powerful turning point in your strategy.
I think all of that is to say that there's so many different pathways you can take in this game. You can play that slow and burn. You can really go in heavy and go in the center of the square and say, hey, it is me. Look at me in my dragon costume and all the fireworks that I have. And that layer of how you approach this game is what draws a lot of people into these types of games, because there's so many different strategies to explore, so many little pockets of the game to adventure in.
And with that said, there's also this, we can jump into the scoring a little bit, where there's this give and take of you have to be willing to almost sacrifice in a sense of, you know, you're not going to go very far in this particular mini game, so let's score that one first so that the next three score better. And balancing that through the strategies and the decisions that you're going to be making makes for a very thoughtful game, in a sense where you have to be willing and understand what those right objectives or optimizations might be for you.
Well, because each of the rounds, the first two rounds, you're only going to score one of the four sections. And once you score them, you're not going to score them for the rest of the game. Your token will be flipped over, you're done. So knowing when and how much you want to invest into that scoring, because those are really high scoring opportunities. You're going to get a bulk of points from doing those. So something to consider, something to plan for. Again, in your big brain of things as you adventure through Diables.
So on top of all of those round end scoring, there's going to be a periodic scoring of photos. And the interesting thing about that is, as we've talked through some of these movements that you're going to be doing on your board, you'll be unlocking multipliers to help yourself score more on the photos. That does mean that photos in particular are something that you need to make sure that you are a part of, because you don't want to miss out on those scoring opportunities.
And don't forget the viral videos.
Exactly.
There's photos and there's viral videos that you will take, and then other people, or you may do the work to
Double
like
tap.
them.
Yeah.
Do that double tap, and then if that happens, there's plenty of points. But it is a time trigger. Once all the photos have been taken, or videos potentially, that's when they score. So if your photo is taken but it doesn't have a lot of likes, you may not get as many points as you've been hoping for.
Or maybe you've played this a few times and you've noticed that somebody is very close to scoring heavy, but if you decide to take a photo, you can stop that and they can score less.
Exactly. It's a really interesting element, which I think brings us to the next key feature, which is the theme of this game.
Yes.
When we first saw it, we were really drawn to it because, hey, it's your firework dancing through the streets. It's based in a tradition from a very long time ago. But this version of it is modernized because not only are you doing all of this and trying to have the best troupe of performers, but you're hoping to get some social capital from it. You're hoping to get followers that are following you through the streets, taking pictures of you, taking videos. And that really depicts what it is like in the current age and time. You just have the sea of phones. People don't live in the moment.
Yes, it's a nice little mashup of something that traditionally happens and some modern day spices that we know of social media.
And the table presence is just fantastic. Everybody holding their little fireworks.
Yeah, that is very clever.
And the board begins so bare because the parade has not started yet. Everyone's just preparing. Everyone's getting everybody ready. And then by the end of the game, it's just a full-on celebration, which you love to see.
Last but not least, let's touch on player interaction. I would say that in terms of player interaction, this game is actually relatively solitaire. However, there is a lot going on in the center board that you need to pay attention to. This means you're going to be paying attention to the firework type you're going to be using, the workers you're going to be placing, the scoring opportunities that could potentially be happening, and just the places that are available on the board in general.
I will say the player interaction in this game actually feels pretty thematic.
It does.
Because it feels like at the beginning of the day, you're just getting ready. You're starting your parade, you're interacting with the locals, you're putting on a show, you're trying to put on some of the bigger shows in the center square. But as the day goes on and as the rounds go on, you're interacting much, much more with everybody else and seeing, oh, hey, they're over there. We probably want to be over there because we'll get more fame if we're over there. And a lot of the scoring opportunities, because of how interactive they are with other players, you'll be paying more and more attention to what everybody else is doing throughout the game as the game progresses later on.
Essentially, what we mean when the player interaction is a key feature of this is it's unintentional player interaction that isn't that type of player interaction. All of the stuff you're going to be doing that involves what other people are doing is very strategic in the choices. And then we haven't even talked about the photo aspect of it too. We've briefly touched on it throughout all the other topics that we've gone over today, but that is something that will also be part of, and most importantly, part of player interaction.
Well, because you gotta like each other's photos, because if likes...
And you got to make sure you're taking the photos.
You may get some good benefits out of that. Another thing I'll mention is the variety in your workers is really interesting in this game. Because you'll have your drummers, you'll have your main workers, you'll have dragons that people will be in, and your characters as well. And knowing how to position them because of the various costs of fireworks and the various benefits you get sometimes from your spectators or from the main board is a really interesting feature of this game.
Yeah, that's a great point because there is dragon cards that you can unlock once you unlock one of them on your board, you get to take any of the available ones and they act as a benefit when you use your dragons on your player board. Those can be super powerful but costly.
Well, it's all the preparation time.
It is.
You gotta make sure you're dressed, make sure you get up early enough so you can put on the best show. Well, that in a nutshell is Diables. You're going to be working over 3 rounds. You're going to be preparing your performers and putting on the best darn show so you can get the most fame and win.
Exactly. Take the photos, thrill the crowds, score a lot of points.
Gain a lot of followers. Pay attention to those tracks. Build those tracks with beautiful benefits.
And again, I will remind everybody that this is a heavier strategic game. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely worth taking a look at Diables.
And if you want to learn more, you can hit that link in the description. There is a Game Found campaign where you can learn much, much more about this game and all the various intricacies of it.
And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button if you're new here, because we love talking board games.
And hit that little bell, because you know when our next videos come out, we can all partake in the joy of board gaming. Now, for our question of the day today, if you were a street performer, what would you do?
Ooh.
Would you do firework dancing?
Firework dancing, juggling maybe, or maybe even just an instrument.
Maybe you tell stand-up jokes to the crowds.
Let us know your answers in the comments down below. But until next time, we will see you later.
Bye.
Bye.